Friends, welcome to this webinar. All India Democratic Youth Organization AIDYO is organizing this national webinar, The Unending Struggle for Homeland, History of Palestinian Quest. As you very well know, the situation in the Middle East, in and around Palestine, is becoming graver by the day. And you also very well know that the tension is escalating and the conflict is also brewing very badly, and situation is becoming graver and graver. And hundreds are being killed in conflicts after conflicts, and the hapless Palestinians who are made homeless from their very homeland, which they have there, on which they are there for thousands of years. Now the problem is Israel, by its expansionist strategy, it is occupying the entire Palestine, almost entire Palestine today. In this background, a lot of demand came on knowing this complex issue. As you are also aware, this particular situation in Israeli-Palestinian region is very complex politically and historically. There have been so many developments, and politically highly complex, because even many foreign powers also have stakes in this region. In fact, very loosely we can draw parallels between India, Pakistan, and Israel-Palestine. And in this background, All India Committee of AIDYO thought it necessary to have a detailed discussion on this particular topic to get a proper understanding about the historical, geographical, as well as political situation, the kind of conflict that is going on, the reasons for the conflict, and what should be done to get a permanent solution for this problem. So this is the background of our today's national webinar. So before we begin the actual discussion, we have two important guests who will be speaking on this complex matter, and will try to clear as many questions that are present in the viewers here. We have Comrade Satyavan. He is the Politburo member of the Central Committee of our mother party, Socialist Unity Center of India. I heartily welcome him for this program. And we also have Comrade K. Sridhar, who is a Central Committee member of our party, SUCI Communist. I welcome you too, Comrade, to this program. With this very brief introduction to the topic which we are going to take up for discussion today, I request our organizers here to play a small video which is pertinent for us to watch, as to get a kind of the feeling of what actually is happening in that particular Middle East region. And after that, our discussion will continue.
it just made me laugh, like, why are you doing this? Are you this weak? So I wasn't really afraid, because like the way he treated me, the way he kicked me, the way he dragged me, it just shows he's not okay here.
I'm always sick. I'm always, I don't know. I can't do anything. See all of this. What do you expect me to do? Fix it? I'm only 10. I can't even do anything this morning. I just want to be a doctor or anything to help my people, but I can't. I'm just a kid. I don't even know what to do. I get scared, but not really that much. I do anything for my people, but I don't know what to do. I'm just 10. I'm just 10. All of this, when I see, I literally cry every day, saying to myself, why do we deserve this? What did we do to this?
The footage, which was filmed by a Palestinian man, shows 65-year-old Ziad Abu Halil walking up to the soldiers and shouting at them that they should be ashamed of themselves. Despite one raising his gun, the elderly man continues to shout, asking them how they can shoot at kids and telling them that's not okay, and to take their soldiers away and not fire their weapons on children. The Israeli troops are heard telling the man to leave and go back or he would be arrested. Then the elderly man puts his hand on his chest and collapses to the ground.
Friends and comrades, these are the things that are happening on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, and on minute basis in the entire region, which was earlier Palestine. The main issue of conflict, the world more or less is not very clear, but the world takes sides, either with Israel, some of them who are glued to the tutored media, committed media, or a large section of population who are freedom loving, who love the independence of people and sovereignty. They are with the people of Palestine. Now, in this background, we felt that a thorough discussion, in-depth discussion is necessary. Some of the basic points I will just share with you before our speakers begin their talk. The current conflict, which began on May 10th, as you all know, and it went on for 11 days of incessant bombing, destruction, and killings that happened in that period. There is a precursor to this event. In fact, the settlements that Israel is conducting since about more than 100 years almost, since it was born in 1948 legally, from and much before that too. Israelis came to this region as refugees seeking, refuge when they were driven all through from all over the globe. Since that time onwards, when they came and settled, and then there was a historical background, and there was a larger sympathy for the Jewish people all over the globe. And with the formation of Israel, with the UN partition plan in 1948, the settlements rate increased. People from all over the globe went on settling in the place called Israel, and the local population, the original population which was there, the Palestinians, were almost pushed to the corner. They were unsettled from their very own place, and they were made homelandless. So this is the actual history that happened. And in this conflict between the people that were being settled at Palestine and the local population, a conflict erupted. In fact, the latest round of it, which began much earlier than May 10th, because it's a continuous ongoing one. In fact, on occasions, it becomes very big, and the world will sit up and see what's happening in this region. But the conflict, as I told you, is on a minute basis it's happening. It's a conflict between two communities, two populations. And there are areas where the original people have been thrown out. They were made dispossessed from their own place, and that is a serious crisis there. So the people who are emotionally connected, who are historically connected, politically connected to a region, are almost made refugees in their own place. Just imagine that situation. They are uprooted completely. The latest one connected with one place called Sheikh Zarrah. It began much earlier to it. In fact, you saw the video. It was the first video there. In this, Sheikh Zarrah is very near to one very historic mosque, which is a holy one, where the Muslims all over the globe consider to be third holiest place in their beliefs after Mecca and Medina. This Al-Aqsa Mosque. This Al-Aqsa Mosque was raided by Israeli forces, and this comes very near to Sheikh Zarrah. In fact, the Sheikh Zarrah neighborhood was occupied in East Jerusalem area. Many Palestinian families which are residing there are facing the imminent threat of mass eviction, because the Israeli government gave them the notice to leave that place immediately, and there is a legal battle going on because of that. But these people were the original people of Sheikh Zarrah. And then this conflict was brewing, and there was conflict, and local population was also conducting mass protests. It was a mass peaceful protest that were going on there. And after that, you see, when the Israeli troops raided Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the holiest place of all, and it is religiously and emotionally important for the Muslims, not only Palestinians, Muslims all over the globe. On May 7th, in fact, continuous raids were conducted. The Israeli police shot steel bullets covered with rubber, and there were grenade attack. They destroyed some portion of the mosque too, and then the clash intensified. With this, hundreds of Palestinians were also injured in this period, in this particular raid. And this Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is in Jerusalem, again a holy place for not only Muslims, for Muslims, Christians, as well as Jews, because all of them believe that Jerusalem is a holy place for all. And next, the Palestinian, the protests began. And with this Palestinian protest, particularly in West Bank, Palestinians were protesting peacefully in West Bank, Jerusalem, and inside Israel too. And they faced very brutal repression and lethal violence from the Israeli forces. And this is the background in which it has happened. And not only Israeli forces, even the settlers, that is the Jewish settlers, also joined the forces, and there were violent mobs which attacked the hapless, armless Palestinians. on May almost when at that moment what happened was in the Gaza Strip, another part of Israel, Palestine, in the Gaza, the Hamas, which is holding the power there. Hamas is a militant organization that launched few rockets against Israeli targets, taking that as a plea, and when the rockets were fired indiscriminately into Israel, then the Israel, yeah, as a plea to retaliate that attack by the rockets, it aggressively did airstrikes. And in fact, you definitely saw in the video, a 11-story building was brought down by bombing. And in fact, that housed Associated Press, Al Jazeera, and many other media outlets, and hundreds of schools, yeah, and then medical sites, residential targets have been, hospitals have been destroyed. In fact, in this violence, what the very reliable media has reported says the casualty numbers to 256 Palestinians were killed in this attack, in which more than 66 children were also killed, and they were made homeless. They were amidst rubble and dust. In fact, their dreams shattered, and in fact, see the kind of disproportionate use of force by Israel. The hapless Palestinians, who are the original people of the land, in fact, they can only retaliate with the stones or even caterpillars or sticks. But what they get in return, a disproportionate use of force by the Palestine, is using grenades, bombs, airstrikes, missiles, and whatnot. So, in this background, the America-backed Israel is emboldened to attack the hapless people of Palestine, and wants to corner Palestine as much as possible. And before the discussion begins, I would like to just give you a brief view of where exactly the Palestine and Israel and the discussion that we are holding, the land around which the discussion is holding. Just I would like to show it before you. You know, is this screen visible, Vinay? I have shared.
Yes, it is visible.
Oh, yes, thank you. Now, this screen, if you see, India is here, if you can follow my cursor, and Israel is here. And in fact, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Israel goes here. And when we blow it up, this particular region, you can see the Israel is actually a land right now. Current Israel, present Israel, is the land between Mediterranean Sea and the Dead Sea here. The Dead Sea is here, and Mediterranean Sea, almost this Jordan River. So land in between Mediterranean Sea and Jordan River. So once how actually Israel looks like this today, and what you see in the brown, that is the West Bank. This is the West Bank, one small portion of Palestinians, and another small Palestinian part is here, which is the Gaza Strip. And right now, the air attack, the major movements have happened in West Bank. In fact, Jerusalem is here. You can see the Jerusalem part here, and Al-Aqsa Mosque is also here. And Sheikh Jarrah is very much near to Jerusalem. In this region, the conflict began on May 7th. But the rockets have been fired from this region, Gaza, by the Hamas. In fact, that is the kind of complicated nature of this conflict. Okay, and this, when the attacks happened in Gaza from this, where many rockets were fired on the Israeli targets, Israel retaliated by bombing this part, Gaza, and many have been killed in this Gaza. In fact, this Palestine is these two parts, West Bank and Gaza Strip, in the present world today. But how it was, just take a look at this. Another screen I have projected for your view here. In fact, historic Palestine, what you see in the green earlier was this part. This is the Mediterranean Sea, this is the Dead Sea, and this is another Sea of Galilee. This is another sea. Here comes Lebanon, and this is the Syria part, and this is the Jordan.
The slide has not changed.
Just a moment. Okay.
Yes,
Now is it changed?
yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. Then I will. Yes. Okay. The this green part, what you see is the Palestinian part. It was earlier historic Palestine. The people of Palestine were residing here, and now after formation of Israel in 1947 UN partition plan, you see the entire region of Palestine is shrunk. The state of Palestine has shrunk completely and was relegated to these small areas that you can see. So then only 44% of the land was given to Palestinians by the British, because it was a British mandate at that point in time, taken from Turkey. And then this 44%, what remained in 1947, is on going on shrinking because of the expansionist and forceful entry of Israel into the areas of Palestine in 1967 of the Six-Day War, which took up, and our speakers would throw more light on this. During that time, much more land, another 22% of land the Palestinians lost. In fact, that was reduced to 22% in 1967. And after that, after this losing of this land in the year 2020, when American President Donald Trump, in fact, recognized Jerusalem as the capital city of Israel of that point in time. You see now the entire Palestine is furthermore shrunk, and the white patches in between the green, what you can see here, are all the forceful settlements and building of high-rise walls where the Jewish settlement is being done and forcing the Palestinians away from their own place, even the smallest place that they have. As on 2021, the Palestinians, the original people of Palestine, have only left 12% of the land from what they had earlier. So they are almost evacuated from every place, and that has become high density areas, and people are living a miserable, inhuman living conditions. The 52 lakh Palestinians who are presently there in the globe, and where the more than 80% are in this region, are living a subhuman life. And in fact, they are even fighting for the minimum subsistence of life. So in this background, what Israel has done, why there is so much of power in the hands of Israel, why the international community is not doing anything, and what is the extent of damage in every conflict that is happening. Comrades and friends, these are the issues that we are going to discuss, and we would like to know from our speakers. So with this very brief introduction and the need for our organizing this discussion, I request our senior leader, Comrade Satyavan, who is the Politburo member of the Central Committee of SUCI Communist. I welcome him onto this program once again. Comrade, as you very well know, he is the president of our farmers organization, All India Khet Mazdoor Kisan Sangathan, Khet Kisan Mazdoor Sangathan. In fact, this is in the forefront of the movement currently that is going on Delhi with SJM, Samyukta SKM, Samyukta Kisan Morcha. This AIKKMS is working closely with it, and currently the farmers movement against the three black laws has crossed 6 months, and it's still going on very powerfully. He heads that organization AIKKMS, and we are very happy to have him here. And I request Comrade Satyavan to place his points of view. Before he begins, a small announcement for the benefit of our viewers, that this program will happen in this forum. First, the speakers would make their initial presentation, initial points, and after that there will be an interactive program where say there are few questions that have come from different states, and those questions will be put to the speakers to extract the explanation and answer to this more complex issue of Israel and Palestine. Now I request Comrade Satyavan to please take over. Comrade, it is to you, Comrade. Please go on.
सबसे पहले मैं ऑल इंडिया डेमोक्रेटिक यूथ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का धन्यवाद करूंगा कि आज अंतर्राष्ट्रीय महत्व के एक बहुत जरूरी पहलू पर ये वेबिनार आयोजित किया है। आप सभी को मालूम है कि हाल ही में इजराइल ने फिलिस्तीन पर भीषण हमले किए हैं। एक सप्ताह से ज्यादा इजराइल की मिलिट्री ने आधुनिक जो अस्त्र हैं, डिस्ट्रक्टिव वेपन्स हैं, उनका इस्तेमाल किया है और जिसमें 250 के आसपास फिलिस्तीन के लोग मारे गए हैं, जिनमें 60-70 बच्चे हैं, 40 के करीब महिलाएं हैं, बहुत सारे घायल हुए हैं। 2000 तो इस तरह से हम देखते हैं कि इन 7-8 दिनों में फिलिस्तीन के ऊपर कहर ढाया गया है। फिलिस्तीन को एक तरह से इजराइल ने, जिसके पीछे अमेरिका, खासतौर पर साम्राज्यवादी अमेरिका खड़ा है, और इजराइल ने कत्लगाह के रूप में बनाया हुआ। फिलिस्तीन का जो एक हिस्सा है गाजा पट्टी, ये 40 किलोमीटर लंबी और 5 से 12 किलोमीटर चौड़ी पट्टी का है। आपने सुना है सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर में हिटलर ने यहूदियों को कंसंट्रेशन कैंप में लाखों लोगों को सता के मारा गया। तो जिस तरह का वहां कंसंट्रेशन कैंप था, आज ये गाजा पट्टी है, गाजा स्ट्रिप है, ये दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा कंसंट्रेशन कैंप, एक कत्लगाह है। 21 लाख जो आबादी है करीबन, उसमें से 11 लाख लोगों के लिए पीने के लिए पानी नहीं है। 6 लाख बच्चे या तो घरों में कैद हैं या मरने पर मजबूर हैं, और 40,000 से ज्यादा लोग शरणार्थी के रूप में इधर उधर भटक रहे हैं। फिलिस्तीन की पोजीशन क्या है? अरे उमेश, फिलिस्तीन की स्थिति यह है कि ये सेना नहीं रख सकता। इस फिलिस्तीन के पास कोई सेना नहीं, क्योंकि इसको राष्ट्र राज्य का दर्जा, स्टेटहुड, ये मंजूर नहीं है। और एक लफ्ज में कहा जा सकता है कि आज फिलिस्तीन अपने घर से बेघर है। फिलिस्तीन के पूरी आबादी आज दर दर मारे मारे फिर रहे हैं। और एक बात खुशी की है इस सब के बीच में, वो ये है कि इजराइल जो अपने आप को लोह दुर्ग, आयरन डोम के रूप में कहता है, आज फिर भी फिलिस्तीन उसको चुनौती दे रहा है। चुनौती दे रहा है हिम्मत के साथ, कुर्बानी के साथ। इस बात को हमारे देश के जो विशेषज्ञ हैं वो भी मानते हैं। हाल ही में हरियाणा पंजाब का एक नामी पेपर है दी ट्रिब्यून, उसमें रिटायर्ड लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल डिप्टी चीफ डिफेंस स्टाफ संजीव लेंगर ने एक लेख 19 मई को लिखा था, जिन्होंने इस बात का जिक्र किया जो हम कह रहे हैं कि फिलिस्तीन के लोग ही हैं जो इतने लंबे अरसे इजराइल के, आप मार्क करें, जब इजराइल के खिलाफ आवाज उठ रही है, फिलिस्तीन के लोगों पर जो जुल्म किया जा रहा है उसके पक्ष में दुनिया आवाज उठा रही है। ठीक इस वक्त पर आज डोनाल्ड ट्रंप अमेरिका के राष्ट्रपति नहीं है, आज जो बाइडेन जो है मौजूदा राष्ट्रपति ने इजराइल को अभी अभी सैन्य सामान, युद्ध के सामान के लिए, आर्म्स के लिए एक बड़ी संख्या में धन दिया है, 5.4 करोड़ डॉलर। और अमेरिका की आज स्थिति है कि चाहे संसद में डेमोक्रेट हो या रिपब्लिकन हो, दोनों की एक ही स्थिति है, कोई खास फर्क नहीं है। इजराइल का यहूदीवादी जो शासन है, बेंजामिन नेतन्याहू, वहां चुनाव भी होने हैं, वहां का जो राष्ट्रपति है वो पूरे फिलिस्तीन पर जुल्म कर रहा है। लेकिन ये मामला और ज्यादा उलझ गया, कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो गया जब डोनाल्ड ट्रंप राष्ट्रपति थे। 6 दिसंबर को 2017 में डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने अचानक एकाएक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मान्यताओं के विरुद्ध जाकर जो उनकी एम्बेसी इजराइल के तेल अवीव शहर में थी, वहां से, और उसने घोषणा कर दी कि यरूशलेम में ले जाएंगे। आप जानते हैं कि यरूशलेम जो है ये एक ऐसा शहर है, सिटी है, जिस पर विश्व बिरादरी ने, यूएनओ ने, दुनिया भर के देशों ने जो यूएनओ के प्रस्ताव के तहत उसको इंटरनेशनल सिटी का, एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय शहर का दर्जा दिया हुआ। तो अमेरिका अगर अपनी एम्बेसी, अपना राजदूतालय तेल अवीव से अगर यरूशलेम ले जाता है तो इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? मायने हुआ कि अमेरिका यरूशलेम पर इजराइल का पूरा दावा, पूरा आधिपत्य स्वीकार कर रहा है, मायने कि उसकी राजधानी के रूप में स्वीकार कर रहा है। ये दुनिया में इसको कोई भी देश मान्यता देने के लिए तैयार नहीं, और ये अमेरिका की सपोर्ट से हो रहा है। अमेरिका यूएनओ में इस कदम, अमेरिका के इस कदम के खिलाफ यूएनओ की जनरल असेंबली में जो है प्रस्ताव आया, और वो प्रस्ताव 128 देशों ने अमेरिका के खिलाफ फैसला दिया। अमेरिका पक्ष में सिर्फ 9 देश अमेरिका के पक्ष में आए थे, और वो भी वो देश है छोटे छोटे, होंडुरस या अफ्रीका के जो छोटे छोटे जेब का जो संगठन है, दबे कुचले देश है। तो ये, इसके बावजूद अमेरिका ने स्वीकार नहीं किया कि माइट इज राइट, जिसकी लाठी उसकी भैंस। ये है आज अमेरिका का जो डेमोक्रेसी, जो दुनिया का सबसे पुराना लोकतंत्र का जो दुहाई देते हैं। आज इस साम्राज्यवाद पूरी तरह से मानव द्रोही हो गया है। राष्ट्रों की स्वतंत्रता का कोई उसके लिए मायने नहीं है। तो ये असल में बात क्या है? अमेरिका की सपोर्ट से इजराइल आज एक टेररिस्ट स्टेट है। और एक चीज आपको जानकर रखनी होगी कि आज जो ये फिलिस्तीन है, ये एक प्राचीन बसासत है, प्राचीन एक सभ्यता है। 1300 ईस्वी, यानी पिछले 1300 ईस्वी से फिलिस्तीन जिस जगह पर है आज, जहां इजराइल भी है, जॉर्डन, लेबनान, ये सब देश, टर्की का जो साम्राज्य था, ओटोमन साम्राज्य, वो 650 साल रहा है। एक बहुत बड़े भूभाग पर, पश्चिमी एशिया के, जिसमें यूरोप के भी आ जाते थे, बहुत बड़े भूभाग पर ये ओटोमन साम्राज्य का शासन रहा 650 साल, 1300 सदी से लेकर और 1923 तक। तो इस दौरान जो फिलिस्तीन रहा है, वहां यहूदी भी रहते थे, लेकिन धीरे धीरे यहूदी जो व्यापार करते थे वो अपनी खुशी से वॉलंटरली, स्वेच्छा से दुनिया के बहुत सारे देशों में धीरे 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 करके दुनिया के देशों में फैल गए। तो अगर यहूदी दूसरी जगह गए, लेकिन ये जो फिलिस्तीन है, यहाँ अरब पीपुल्स, अरब आबादी ज्यादा से ज्यादा रही। दूसरा जो वर्ल्ड वॉर हुआ, तो ये भी एक बात आप समझ कर रखें कि इसमें जो कॉलोनियल ब्रिटिश साम्राज्यवाद था, औपनिवेशिक साम्राज्यवाद था, वो एक तरह से अस्त हो गया और अमेरिकन साम्राज्यवाद उभर कर आया। तो ये फिलिस्तीनी जो क्षेत्र है, इस क्षेत्र पर ब्रिटेन का जो कब्जा था वो छूट गया और अमेरिका का दबदबा वाला ये हालात दुनिया में जो पैदा हुए, तो ये आ गया। उस वक्त अमेरिका के जो राष्ट्रपति थे ट्रूमैन, उन्होंने घोषणा की कि यूरोप के देशों से, दुनिया के दूसरे देशों से 1 लाख के करीब यहूदियों को इस फिलिस्तीन में लाया जाएगा, कानूनी तौर से भी, गैर कानूनी तौर से भी, और ये लाया गया। ये जो यहूदी लाए गए, इनके साथ साथ थी प्राइवेट गुंडा बाहिनी, प्राइवेट आर्मी, गुप्त आतंकी संगठन। वो क्या करते थे, वो एक एक जो अरब जो गांव थे, फिलिस्तीनियों के जो गांव थे, जो हजारों सालों से रह रहे थे, उन गांवों को उजाड़ना, उनके खेतों को उजाड़ना, उनके बागों को उजाड़ना, गांव को जो है नष्ट कर देना, यहां तक कि उनके कब्रिस्तानों को भी उखाड़ देना। तो ये जो किया गया, तो जो भी हो, ये स्थिति रही। तो सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद मई 1948 में यूएनओ में एक प्रस्ताव आया और उस प्रस्ताव के तहत ये आया कि अब फिलिस्तीन को 2 भागों में बांट देना चाहिए, 2 स्टेटों में बांट देना चाहिए। एक यहूदी स्टेट इजराइल और दूसरी स्टेट फिलिस्तीन, जहां पुरानी बसासत के, और तीसरा जो यरूशलेम शहर है, जो होली सिटी के रूप में एक जो पुराना शहर है, जहां धार्मिक रूप से भी वो एक केंद्र रहा है, उसको इंटरनेशनल स्टेटस रहेगा। और उसमें उस यरूशलेम को भी 2 हिस्सों में बांट दिया, ग्रीन लाइन खींच दी मैप में। इसलिए जो हिस्सा है यरूशलेम, इजराइल के पास था, पूर्वी आज का फिलिस्तीन का जो पड़ोसी मुल्क है। और कुछ दिनों के बाद 14 मई 1948 को इजराइल को तो एक राष्ट्रीय राज्य का दर्जा दे दिया यूएनओ ने, एक स्वतंत्र राष्ट्र घोषित कर दिया। अब वो खुद एक राष्ट्र है, एक मिलिट्री रखेगा, उसकी सरकार होगी, और जो हिस्सा इजराइल को दिया है उसमें उसकी सोवरेंटी होगी। लेकिन फिलिस्तीन को कुछ नहीं दिया। तो ये एक तरफा जो किया उसके खिलाफ पूरा फिलिस्तीन में और अरब दुनिया में बगावत हो गई। अल्टीमेटली युद्ध हुआ, युद्ध लंबा चला, और दौरान फिलिस्तीन का चप्पा को तबाह कर दिया गया। उनके खेत, उनके बाग, उनकी बस्ती, यहां तक कि उनके बुजुर्गों के जो शमशान थे, सब कुछ को तबाह कर दिया। और फिलिस्तीन के 2/3 हिस्से पर, 2/3 हिस्से पर इजराइल ने कब्जा कर लिया। यहां मैं आपको एक स्थिति से वाकिफ कराऊंगा। ये जब स्थिति चल रही थी, तो बाद में जो इजराइल का प्रधानमंत्री बना मेनाकेम बेगिन, वो अमेरिका के दौरे पर गया था। आइंस्टीन ने वहां के न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में 6 दिसंबर 1948 का न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में अल्बर्ट आइंस्टीन द ग्रेट साइंटिस्ट, उन्होंने न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में एक पत्र लिखा उसमें जो उल्लेख किया है उन्होंने पत्र में, उन दो बातों का जिक्र मैं आपके सामने करता हूं। पहले तो कहा कि अमेरिका जो मेनाकेम बेगिन को पूरा स्वागत कर रहा है, वहां का मीडिया स्वागत कर रहा है, उसको सपोर्ट कर रहा है, वहां की सरकार और दूसरे जो बड़े जिनको लोग कहा जाता है वो जो उसको स्वागत कर रहे हैं, इस पर उन्होंने आपत्ति की। उन्होंने कहा कि ये व्यक्ति, इसका अतीत पूरी तरह से नाजी आतंक के अतीत है, ये हिटलर का नया अवतार है इजराइल के अंदर, ये जो है नाजी सोच को लेकर है, बिल्कुल हिटलर की जो कार्य पद्धति थी, जो उसके अत्याचार के जो तौर तरीके थे, ये उसको फॉलो करता है। और उसने दृष्टांत दिया, इसका एक दृष्टांत दिया अपने पत्र में कि ये सब जो कत्लेआम यहूदियों के ऊपर, यहूदियों के द्वारा अमेरिका की सपोर्ट से, पहले ब्रिटेन की सपोर्ट से जो किए जाते रहे, उसमें एक गांव था, गांव का नाम था दीर यासीन, एक छोटा गांव था। ये कभी भी ना तो यहूदियों के पक्ष में रहा और ना ये फिलिस्तीनियों के पक्ष में रहा, यानी एक तरह से जो उन्माद है उससे मुक्त रहा। और कभी भी अरब ने उसको केंद्र बनाने की सोची थी कि इसको केंद्र करके हम कुछ करें, लेकिन इसने इनकार कर दिया। तो एक तरह से, लेकिन ये जो बेगिन है, जो बाद में प्रधानमंत्री बना है, ये बेगिन ने उस गांव को पूरी तरह से उजाड़ दिया, वहां के 250 लोगों को कत्ल कर दिया, और कत्ल करने के बाद उनकी लाशों का पेड़ निकालेगी, दुनिया को वीडियो दिखाया गया। खुद यहूदी जो एसोसिएशन थी उसको शर्म आई, उन्होंने जॉर्डन के राजा को पत्र लिख के माफी मांगी। लेकिन आप समझ सकते हैं कि अमेरिकी ब्रिटेन सपोर्ट से ये जो जीव शासन थे, उन्होंने किस तरह से ये जुल्म किया था, ये आइंस्टीन उल्लेख करता है। और ये आपको मालूम रहना चाहिए कि फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर के दौरान जब ओटोमन साम्राज्य कमजोर हो गया था, 1923 में तो समाप्ति हो गया, तो उस दौरान ब्रिटेन आके फिलिस्तीन का, अभी तक इजराइल नहीं बना था, फिलिस्तीन के एरिया में आके कब्जा कर लिया था, यानी एक तरह से आधिपत्य जमा लिया था। उस दिन फिलिस्तीन की क्या स्थिति थी वो मैं आपके सामने उल्लेख कर रहा हूं। 1919 की जो सेंसस है, जनगणना है, ये ब्रिटिश शासन की हुई है। 7 लाख अरब आबादी, सिर्फ 56,000 यहूदी थे। ये 1919 की पोजीशन है। इसके बाद क्या हुआ, आज स्थिति पलट गई। 1937 में ब्रिटेन ने एक कमीशन नियुक्त किया, पील कमीशन। उस पील कमीशन ने सिफारिश की ब्रिटेन को कि यहां यहूदी राज्य बनाया जाना चाहिए, यहूदी नाम से एक अलग देश बनाया जाना चाहिए। 1939 में लंदन कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई, उसमें कहा कि हम जल्दी यूरोप से यहूदी फिलिस्तीन में ले जाएंगे और 10 साल के भीतर यहूदी राज्य बनाया जाए। तो ये सब साम्राज्यवादी ब्रिटेन की कारस्तानियां थी, जिसको आगे चल के अमेरिका ने जो पूरा सपोर्ट दिया है। इसके खिलाफ 1936 से लेकर 1939 तक लगातार 3 साल जो है भयंकर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हुए, युद्ध हुआ, 5,000 अरब आबादी मारी गई। और स्थिति ये हुई कि 1947 में आकर जो स्थिति, ब्रिटेन वहां से भाग गया, अमेरिका ने वहां अपना दबदबा बना लिया, और यहूदी, ये जो इजराइल है, इस इजराइल को पूरा सपोर्ट दिया। और जो प्लान दी, जो नई प्लानिंग पेश की, नया प्रस्ताव पेश किया 3 सितंबर 1947 को, उसमें जो मैंने पहले जिक्र किया कि 2 भागों में यरूशलेम को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्टेटस देके बाकी हिस्से को 2 भागों में, इजराइल और फिलिस्तीन, ये बांटने का एक प्लान आई। आप समझ सकते हैं जो अरब आबादी थी, यानी फिलिस्तीन को जो हिस्सा मिलेगा उसमें 7,25,000 की आबादी थी। 99% ये अरब हैं, सिर्फ 10,000 आबादी यहूदी थी। लेकिन इसको भूमि कितनी दी गई? प्रस्तावित हुई 43%। और जो यहूदी आबादी थी 4 लाख सिर्फ, और उसके साथ 4 लाख के करीब ही अरब आबादी थी। यानी जो फिलिस्तीन के इजराइल को जो हिस्सा दे रहे हैं उसमें बराबर ही आबादी है, थोड़ी सी आबादी यहूदियों की ज्यादा है। उसको दी 55% जमीन और बेस्ट उपजाऊ जमीन। तो ये जो उस तरह से ये आधार जो बनाया गया इजराइल को स्थापित करने का, ये जो गलत हुआ उसके खिलाफ युद्ध हुआ। 1949 में फिर समझौता हुआ, तो ये लगातार रहा। 1967 में फिर युद्ध हुआ, लेकिन उस युद्ध में इजराइल को अमेरिका की फुल सपोर्ट रही और उसका नतीजा यह हुआ कि उसने और भी ज्यादा हिस्से छीन लिए, यहां तक कि मिस्र से एक हिस्सा छीन लिया था जिसको बाद में वापस किया। ये वेस्ट बैंक है, ये जॉर्डन से छीन लिया था। और इसी तरह से जो गोलन हाइट्स है वो सीरिया से छीन ली थी। एक तरह से अमेरिका के सपोर्ट से फिलिस्तीन ने पूरे क्षेत्र में, सिर्फ फिलिस्तीन के ऊपर ही नहीं, पूरे क्षेत्र में एक तरह से ये एक घमासान मचा है। तो ये हम एक स्थिति देखते हैं। और मैं सिर्फ जिक्र करूंगा कि 1988 में आकर जो यासर अराफात का जो नाम आता था, और पुराने जो लोग हैं वो जानते हैं, तो वो सामने आए और उन्होंने फिलिस्तीन में नया एजेंडा उठाया। फिलिस्तीन लिबरेशन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन उन्होंने बनाया और उन्होंने एक नई जान फूकी। जब उन्होंने ये ऐलान किया फिलिस्तीन को एक राष्ट्र के रूप में हम अपने आप को खड़ा करेंगे, तब ये भारत पहला देश था जिसने उसको स्टेटहुड की मान्यता दी, स्टेटहुड की मान्यता दी थी। और उसमें जो यासर अराफात जिस हिस्से पर दावा करते थे उसमें वेस्ट बैंक था, गाजा पट्टी थी, यरूशलेम को उन्होंने भावी राजधानी के रूप में स्थापित करने की बात कही थी। और इजराइल को मानने से अस्वीकार किया था कि हम इजराइल को नहीं मानते हैं। लेकिन आगे चलकर यासर अराफात ने भी 1993 में ओस्लो अकॉर्ड के तहत इस बात को मान लिया और इजराइल ने यह मान लिया कि हम फिलिस्तीन की हस्ती को मानते हैं। 2004 में यासर अराफात की मृत्यु हो गई, लेकिन उसके बाद भी हमास और जो दूसरे जो फिलिस्तीन को संभाले हुए हैं, यूनेस्को ने जो 2011 में फिलिस्तीन को यूनेस्को का सदस्य स्वीकार किया और यूएनओ ने नॉन मेंबर स्टेट, यानी मेंबर का दर्जा तो नहीं देते हैं लेकिन एक स्टेट के रूप में एक फिलिस्तीन को स्वीकार किया, लेकिन उसको फिर भी राष्ट्र का दर्जा के रूप में नहीं हुआ। मैं अब ये कहना चाहता हूं लास्ट में कि फिलिस्तीन क्या चाहता है, फिलिस्तीन का क्या झगड़ा है। फिलिस्तीन चाहता है कि उसको स्वतंत्र एक राष्ट्र के रूप में मान्यता मिले, उसका अपनी सरकार हो, अपना प्रशासन हो, अपनी मिलिट्री हो, वो एक जैसा हर कोई देश है उसकी संप्रभुता हो, सोवरेंटी हो, नंबर 1। दूसरा, वो चाहता है कि इस पूरे अंतराल में सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर से लेकर और अब तक, यहां तक कि फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद ब्रिटेन का कब्जा छोड़ने से पहले जितने हमारे घरों को उजाड़ा गया, हमारे घरों पर कब्जा किया गया, हमारी जमीन पर कब्जा किया गया कृषि की, वो वापस लौटाई जाए, बस्तियां हमारी वापस लौटाई जाए और यरूशलेम को इजराइल का पोजेशन स्वीकार नहीं किया जाए। यरूशलेम के ऊपर जो है फिलिस्तीन का कब्जा स्वीकार किया जाए, इजराइल का नहीं। तो ये वो चाहते हैं, लेकिन अमेरिका ये नहीं होने दे रहा है। और तो ये एक स्थिति है जिसमें सारी दुनिया में आज फिलिस्तीन के पक्ष में जो स्वतंत्रता पसंद लोग हैं, साम्राज्यवाद विरोधी लोग हैं, वो इसके खिलाफ आवाज उठा रहे हैं। भारत के लोग भी इसके खिलाफ आवाज उठा रहे हैं। हम ये कहना चाहते हैं बड़े दावे के साथ कि फिलिस्तीन को सपना पूरा होना चाहिए, फिलिस्तीन को उसके देश का, राष्ट्र राज्य का पूरा दर्जा मिलना चाहिए, उसको सोवरेंटी मिलनी चाहिए। जैसे इजराइल एक देश है, भारत एक देश है, कोई भी एक देश है, तो फिलिस्तीन भी एक देश के रूप में इसको मान्यता मिले, नंबर 1। दूसरा, उसका पुनर्वास हो, जो शरणार्थी के रूप में, या जो जमीन, जो घर, गांव के गांव जो कब्जा किए गए हैं, वो अनधिकृत है, वो अनधिकृत है, वो जोर जबरदस्ती है, अत्याचार है, वो बहाल होना चाहिए, वो मिले। और यरूशलेम पर इजराइल का आधिपत्य नहीं हो, उसको इंटरनेशनल स्टेटस हो, दोनों देश आपस में परस्पर बातचीत करें, ये होना चाहिए। और इंडियन पीपल, क्योंकि हम खुद साम्राज्यवाद के खिलाफ लंबी लड़ाई लड़कर आए हैं, हम फिलिस्तीन की मुक्ति के लिए, फिलिस्तीन की आजादी के लिए हम उसके साथ हैं। साम्राज्यवाद के खिलाफ इजराइल और अमेरिकी ये जो गठजोड़ है, ये यहूदीवादी जो शासन है, जो हथियारों की ताकत पर खड़ा है, जो अत्याचार पर खड़ा है, इसके खिलाफ सारी दुनिया में आवाज उठनी चाहिए। हम भी उसके खिलाफ जोरदार आवाज उठाते हैं। धन्यवाद सर।
Thank you, comrade. You presented the history of Palestine and Israeli conflict, the way Israel was artificially formed in 1947 through a partition plan by UN, and how the UN area, which was this Jerusalem, which was supposed to have become the capital of Palestine, today, by the intervention of United States of America, has become the capital of Israel. So people of Palestine have been dispossessed of their land. And in fact, comrades, let me remind you, in the conflict after conflict, the major casualties, injuries, and loss of property, their livelihood have been destroyed for the Palestinians. Israel has only survived in this war and has got more emboldened and has become more powerful day by day. In fact, one book recently by Rashid Khalidi, a professor in university in the United States, he has written a book, The 100 Years of War on Palestine, a history of settlers, colonial conquest, and resistance. This book actually covers the entire gamut of last 100 years, from 1917 onwards, when the Jews were hapless and they came into this place as refugees, and how they occupied this place, which was so deeply loved by these Palestinians, have been thrown them out of their own land, has been covered in the emotional part as well as historical part and factual part. And this is actually, he refers to different stages as 4-5 stages as wars that have been carried out on Israel. In the latest one, they call this apartheid, Israeli apartheid, that they are carrying on Palestinians. Their land, their houses are being taken away. They are almost losing everything in their own place. They don't have rights. Even civil rights are not there for the largest minority Arabs in Israel. That's just now Comrade Satyavan narrated so beautifully. So this situation, Palestinians are fighting, but their spirit is not down. They are carrying on. Now let us listen to Comrade K. Sridhar. In fact, he has attended many international conferences and anti-imperialist movements and programs, and presented parties' views on various international questions. And he visited Lebanon, he visited Turkey, he visited so many different countries and participated in so many international importance, programs of international importance. And we are happy to have him. He is a central committee member of our party, SUCI Communist. And I welcome you, comrade. You please take over.
Thank you, Comrade Shashi Kumar. First of all, let me state that the conflict or war, what is going on in that region, is not a clash of religions. It is not a war between religions. It is actually a war against the entire humanity by the imperialists. the displaced and misplaced Palestinians are again powerfully accepting or reasserting their demand for a sovereign national state. Who will not support that demand? Entire world is supporting. Only the imperialists and the Zionists and their cohorts will not support that demand. And people who are misled by the Islamophobia, when there was a period of Cold War, so-called Cold War, when imperialist camp on one side and socialist camp on another side were there, the war mongering imperialist camp, peace-loving socialist camp. That time, showing the threat of socialism, the threat of socialist camp's invasion, the imperialist camp, led by the USA, could boost up the arms manufacture and also arms sale. But after the socialist camp got dismantled, unfortunately, then the US imperialists needed to project some other enemy so that their militarized economy will thrive. We know that we are now living in the era of imperialism. Imperialism generates war. Imperialism thrives on military budgets. And as a crisis is growing day by day, the exploitation by the imperialists also will increase. And in proportion to that, the purchasing power of the people will decrease. Then, to give an artificial stimulation to the market is the necessity for the imperialists. In this background, we have to study any conflict, any war, anywhere in the globe. So the Israelis bombarding for 11 days that Gaza Strip in an inhuman way. Many details are there. We have seen it. I'm not going into the details. The statistics you know. Actually, the international tribunal has been condemning Israel that they are violating all international norms. In 2002, a concrete wall in the West Bank, almost 700 kilometers long wall, has been built. That time also the international court condemned it, quoting even the Geneva Convention 1949, saying that an occupying force has no right to deport the people who are the civilians in that occupied territory. You cannot displace them. You cannot encroach into their properties. This was this was condemned many times, but they did not care because Israel was backed by the US imperialists and UK imperialists. There's a long history. It is not that we are against all the Israelis. Even during this 11-day bombardment of Gaza, we observed that in Tel Aviv, in Israel, there are many Jews who protested. In fact, they are protesting against their own government since many months because of the corruption of the Prime Minister Netanyahu and because of the way he has handled the COVID pandemic. He could not form a government since 2 years. 4 elections were there in that state. Even now, we do not know whether he can continue as a prime minister. I'm just seeing the news here. He may be, his days are numbered. He may go out anytime. But anyway, the point is, it is the Zionism, a fanatic nationalism, being supported by the US imperialists. That is the cause for all this. Jews It is not that all Jews are enemies. It is the rulers, ruling class of Israel. Now, if you go to the history, the ancient history, you see the Judaism, that is the religion of the Jews. It is before Jesus Christ, many years BC. Then it originated from this region. Then Christianity came. Then Islam came after some centuries. And then what happened? There was no problem. The Christians, the Jews, and the Muslims, the all three descendants from Abraham. Abraham, we call it Abrahamic religions. They were in peace. They were living together in that area. But when Islam started growing and its influence was growing, the Italian church unleashed crusades. It is maybe in 1290 and odd, that period, the end of 13th century. And that crusade lasted for 200-300 of years. And they went up to Jerusalem. And the Jews are considered as enemies because they don't consider Jesus Christ as a son of God. So that is the beginning of this anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism, that the Jews are bad people, they should not be tolerated, they should be driven away. So the Christians at that time told in that region, centering around Jerusalem, that you either convert or leave. So that is the time many Jews left. Even many Muslims here, there, they went, many Palestinians, I mean, from that area. But the Jews, what you call the diaspora, that coming from one land but spread all over the world. So this caused some pain in some intellectuals, and some leader of the Jews started raising a slogan in I think 1890s, Zionism. Zionism, in actually it is the nation that we should have, because God has promised a land for us near Jerusalem, the holy place. And actually, as my previous speakers told, it is a holy place for all the three religions. Muhammad was supposed to have prayed in a place in Jerusalem, and that is where that Al-Aqsa Mosque was built up. Anyway, now they were all peacefully living, but the Jews' demand of Zionism did not pick up much momentum, though it is some people started organizing here there. And the Jews were not humiliated in every place, except some fanatic Christian dominated European countries. They were settled. They went up to Europe, and from there even Ukraine, then Armenia, into the Russian area country. Then that became a problem afterwards, during the Holocaust, during the Second World War. And now the people living in Palestine, there the Britishers having colony, Egypt was their colony, Jordan was their colony. Then during the First World War, when Ottoman Empire was so strong and the Allied forces wanted to defeat that, the Britishers made a false promise to both the Palestinians and the Jews who were still remaining there in that area. Not many were there, a few percentage of Jews there. The rest are all spread out all over the world. They told that we will get you, to the Jews, the Britishers told, we will get you your cherished land or state as promised by the God. We will help you. You help us in defeating this Ottoman Empire. So also to the Arabs also they told, I mean the Palestinians, that we will issue some things for you. And the Arab national movement is growing in many Arab countries. So they told we'll support this Arab nations movement. The first promise. So after the First World War ended, the League of Nations formed, and the League of Nations gave Palestine put Palestine under the mandate of British. So it became a British mandate, the British administration, British control. Then came the Second World War, and during the Second World War how many Jews were butchered under Hitler. 6 million Jews were killed, and that is the Holocaust. This Holocaust shocked the whole world. Everybody felt sympathetic to Jews. So during that Second World War also, British has played the same treacherous role, promising to the Jews that your Jewish state, and promising to the Palestinians that no, we will maintain, you will make your Arab national movement successful, everywhere we support. So anyway, after the Second World War ended, then the UN UN was formed in 1945 under the initiation of Great Stalin. Then in 1947 or 48, 48, a resolution was made in the UNO that Jewish will get a statehood. But that statehood does not mean they should go and displace all Palestinians. This resolution was supported by all the countries except the Arab countries. Arab countries did not, they almost walked out of that. Because they were afraid that if the Jews were supported by the imperialists, UK and USA, then the Jews will start occupying all Arab land. But the other rest of the countries and all major members supported because of the sympathy for the Jews seeing that Holocaust. And also there was a dictum. What is the guideline? The guideline was land without people is for people without land. वो जो हिंदी में बोलना चाहे तो बिना लोगों की भूमि जो है वो बिना भूमि लोगों के लिए है. So that way, at the Mediterranean coast, it is not so thickly populated, and from there, some area they can take. But when Jews started entering there, encouraged by the Britishers, shipload of Jews from all over the world started flowing there, and going that our holy land, the promise by God is coming, and has given, and they declared their state. That is the time the Arab countries attacked them. That is the 1948 war between Arab countries, neighboring Palestine, Syria, Jordan, then Egypt, and then from Saudi, all Arab countries. They're afraid that the Jews may come and take over their land. That war lasted for almost 1 year, I think 11 months. 11 months that war lasted. And here is the role of Pentagon. They knew that the war will come. After Second World War ended, they're again waiting for an opportunity. The Pentagon saw a golden opportunity for them to pump in arms to Israel and encourage them, arm them up to the teeth so that they will win that war. That happened. So also, then Israel started occupying the areas of Palestine, the West Bank under Jordan. Jordan was still, I think, a colony of British. Egypt was liberated from British colonial power in 1920s. So the bordering area, Gaza Strip, there Palestinians were there. In the West Bank, on the west of Jordan River, Palestinians are there. And in between other Golan Heights in the north, there also Palestinians were there, but it was under Syrian control. And in between another zone, what Shashi was showing in the green color, there it is, Palestinians are there. But it was given to Israel. And they started occupying the Palestinians' land, demolishing their homes, pushing them away, and building settlements. Settlements, it's like, in a big map, if I put small circles here, there, they're like the settlements of these Israeli Jews, encouraged by USA. For the settlers, all facilities, all freedom of movement, a good identity card. Construction is very good. Nice colony, nice hospitals, nice schools, parks, amusement facilities, everything. And it is so cheap there. American Jews are giving, Israel is giving to the Jews. If they can just produce one certificate saying that my forefathers were there in this land, they will be sanctioned. A good permit card to occupy that with the support of Israeli security forces and the Israeli army and Israeli police. Palestine it is called a state of Palestine, and of course, Palestinian Authority, whatever it is like a nation without state. They don't have their own security force. They don't have their own army in their own land. They're living like second-class citizens. So settlers have created such a problem. They're coming and taking away all the land, property, even the buildings were taken away by them. This is the thing. And I told that the 2002 West Bank wall, that also created a lot of injustice to the Palestinians. So this was going on, the occupation. Then again in 1967, there was a war. It's called the 6 Days War. Then again, Israel was supported heavily by America with their arms. Israel and Israeli Zionist forces and US imperialists, this unholy alliance, using the highest type of technology and arms. That is a very big danger for the peace in the world. They are not going to break that. Even if tomorrow, with popular movement, Palestine gets its nationhood in a fully fledged way, but this zone, US will not leave. The peaceful zone where the religions, Abrahamic religions, were like brothers. They are all like Arabs, Arab Christians, Arab Muslims, and Arab Jews. With that identity, they were there, and that has been converted into a perpetual conflict zone. And who are the victims? Innocent children, women, exploited people, workers. This is going on there. And in this background, you remember in 2017, the ex-president of USA, Donald Trump, suddenly, without caring for any UN resolution, any international norm, declared that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. Israel has got a capital, Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv was the capital. He is the capital on the shore of Israel, at the Mediterranean Sea. Now, what is the necessity of declaring Jerusalem as a capital? It is only to perpetuate and continue that unrest and conflict. Not only that, he has moved the embassy, US embassy, from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. There was so much bloodshed. People opposed like anything. And all people in the world opposed it. In the UNO, there was a meeting. Majority of the countries, more than 90% of the countries, said that you cannot declare that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. As per the resolution of UNO, it is an understanding that Jerusalem is a holy place and it belongs to all. And one side, Palestinians are living very peacefully there. It belongs to them. But Trump declared this, removed that. Then UN Security Council also had a meeting that time in 2017. Out of the 15 members, 14 condemned that shifting capital to Jerusalem for Israel is not correct. It cannot be declared. Only one member opposed these 14. I don't have to name who is that member. Donald Trump even went to this extent that he said, "What is UNO without our funds? It cannot function. We give maximum funds. Now from tomorrow we will stop funding UNO. Only just because you are so rich that you think you can control the whole world, everybody should become slave to you." Even during this pandemic period, he was criticizing WHO and declared that we will not give any fund to the WHO. This way, he denied, refused all international norms and appealed by the general majority of the people, the public, and the stipulations given and the rules written down, legal provisions in the international law and UNO decisions. Nothing they care. They do not care. Because as Comrade Satyavan was telling, might is the force. Might is right. You know, golden rule in Confucian era came from China. That one of the golden rules is that don't treat others the way you don't want to be treated by others. Treat others the way you want to be treated by others. But today I feel the golden rule has become like this. A man who has gold, he will prepare the golden rules, the rules. And even if he prepares a good rule, he will not obey that. Any time he will flout that norm. Flouting norms, defying with impunity. That is the role of the imperialist. We're now coming back to what happened in the 11 days of bombarding Gaza Strip. Some video clips our organizers have shown in the beginning of this webinar. Al-Aqsa is the place where Muslims gather for their last Friday prayers during the Ramzan period. That is important for them. And after the prayers, they congregated there just to voice their protest of the court ruling that is going to come on next Monday for evacuation of the Palestinians from that place called Sheikh Zara. They want to protest. Then the Israeli security force comes there, starts trying to disperse them, starts firing with bullets, rubber bullet, but inside there is metal. And they started throwing even what you call the stun grenade, S-T-U-N. Stun grenades create such loud noise, 170, 180 decibels of noise. Man will become mad listening to that sound. And huge amount of light it will flash. And in that Sheikh Jarrah, to disperse crowds, they use tear gas. Tear gas is supposed to produce only tears, but it is no more like that. Many international organizations have condemned that in the name of tear gas, they are putting some chemicals in it. It is like a chemical weapon to be banned that they use. And now you see It may not be in the mainstream media, but you will find many people are becoming blind, injured due to that rubber bullet, so many injuries, skull broken, neck broken, eye gone. This type of criminal barbarity was seen there. That Al-Aqsa on 8th May, note it, 8th May. And already Trump has created an atmosphere that I don't care for anything. I have the biggest arms, I have the mightiest arms, I have the richest resources. So I don't care. Meaning what? And the way he moved embassy, give a clear message that peaceful negotiation or any discussion to settle the Palestinian issue is out of question. So this message has gone deeply into the minds and hearts of the Palestinians who are fighting since long. And already the efforts of Palestine Liberation Organization under the leadership of Yasser Arafat, though concluded at the Oslo Accord in 1990s, did not yield anything for the Palestinians. Failed, you can say. It is going on like that, and now the Palestinian authorities also not able to resist. And the US imperialists are backing the Israeli army to such an extent that they can just even attack their own mosque when they are trying to resist. Then they felt the only militant way we have to fight. Talks will not help. So this is the truth. It may happen, and then afterwards, this Hamas threw rockets onto Israel. Rockets went and fell on Israeli land. Then, as a retaliation for they started bombarding for 11 days Gaza Strip. What destruction they have created. Many buildings collapsed. Even Al Jazeera, a good TV channel, its news reporting building collapsed. The hospital and where they test for COVID and for containing COVID, that Palestine got a good name. That hospital also collapsed. Many buildings, many people and children, 66 children. And for that, the Israeli army or Israeli rulers say these children are children of terrorists. If you say a terrorist is there, he has to be condemned, you want to be punished, that is a different thing. But a terrorist child also should be killed. That is the worst form of terrorism. So if you say terrorist, it is a Jewish Zionist state is the most terrorist state. And US is the worst terrorist, most dangerous. And actually, because peace process is not going properly, so the Palestinian militants are gaining ground. In that background, Hamas started coming to power, the Islamic militant organization. And US supported Hamas. It is not that Hamas on their own strength they came. History has shown many places wherever this terrorist organization come, there is a hand of CIA, a hand of USA, even IS. Where from they get these arms, big sophisticated arms? Arms are not manufactured in small scale industries, small industries, or in the behind the house. You need a sophisticated, big industrial manufacturing capacity. From there they get, and it is given to the terrorists. Anyway, I am not going into that. Now, when Hamas occupied that Gaza Strip, I have a question. Why, in 2005, when George W. Bush was the president of USA, the man who declared war on terror, the man who told that Islamophobia, who spread it, and he told that this war on terror will go on forever, for decades. And even said, you all decide whether you are with me or with them. So when he was the president, Israel government with the security forces and army came to Gaza Strip and evacuated 8,500 not Palestinians from Gaza Strip. They evacuated Jews from the Gaza Strip. This is recorded in history. And then after that, elections in 2006. So that means Hamas could comfortably win and come to power. They had come from Muslim Brotherhood, a religious organization, want to establish Islamic rule throughout. Anyway, now whatever it is, they have filed records because of your atrocities. And then why don't you talk or discuss or go to UNO? No, nobody is an authority for Israel. Nobody is an authority. So they started bombarding Gaza Strip. This is the way they behave. Many times, before also, in 2014, they again bombarded Gaza Strip. That time we, along with all progressive peace-loving people and anti-imperialist people, our party protested, our anti-imperialist organization protested, we protested, and again they will go for ceasefire. Then again, after some time, they will try bombarding and again ceasefire. Then again, it will just go on like that. As I told you, they made it a perpetual hot zone so that USA can gain political, economic, and military control there in that region. As somebody said, Israel is the military officer for USA in that zone, or it's a military post. Now, whatever you have heard or seen about this 11 days massacre or bombardment or destruction in Gaza, I feel, I'm sure that much more than that has happened. What we have seen is nothing, much more which will not be seen. That type of destruction. This is why the UN Human Rights Commission, UNHRC, held a special session on 27th May, inviting all the participants to come on Zoom. Some could physically attend and listen to all the participants who came. And almost all participants, in one voice, they said that the retaliation given by Israeli army for the Hamas firing of rockets is many, many times much more than what is required in terms of destruction of property, killing of people in all aspects. So it is not justified. It is not justified. It is not only inhuman, it is criminal. So it has to be discussed in the ICC, International Criminal Court. That is the demand. So listening to all the participants in that special session of United Nations Human Rights Commission, the commission has concluded that there should be a probe into what has happened in that zone, Israel and Gaza, what happened. That probe, a high-powered inquiry committee should go and probe. Israel refused, And USA criticized United Nations HRC. That why you're doing this, you're not doing properly. This is the criticism. Because they are not willing for a probe. Why? Then the truth will come. Who is doing what? What has happened? Israel has got a dome for the country. No country has got it. That dome means not visible, but it is an electronic dome which can intercept, stop any rocket falling. Now, what happened to that? How could Hamas rockets one by one penetrate that dome and go? I do not know. I don't have answer. The probability will tell who is doing what. Maybe some people say that Hamas have acquired beautiful rockets with the support from Iran. And maybe some people say no, the US wanted it. Whatever it is, they're playing with the lives of the people. That is the problem. And finally, a nation without state is fighting for justice. A sovereign national state where Palestinians can live enjoying their all rights and live with dignity and peace. This is the demand. We all support it. And we ask the people to support it. Explain what is the game going on. Unity of the people is the crying need of the hour today. I can cite one example, comrades, friends. In, I think, July 2006, there was a war between Lebanon and Israel. It is just 1 month war. That's why it is called also July War, name of the war. When I went there, the organizers showed us, and they took us also, comrades who were there present, Comrade Tabda, myself, Comrade Ranjit, Comrade Manek Mohan, to that South Lebanon to show how the Lebanese militants, supported by that coalition government Hezbollah, have liberated South Lebanon from Jewish occupation. And the Jewish army could not resist it. They could do it. And how Lebanon became successful in the July war? It is because they understood that we, the Arab Christians, and we, the Arab Muslims, should not remain always in conflict fighting. Our disunity is giving strength to imperialism and Zionism. So let us unite, stop our fights and unite. That is the secret for their victory in that July war. So there is a message. The message is that the exploited people all over the world, wherever they are, irrespective of their religion, irrespective of their language, irrespective of their nationality, should unite, should show their solidarity to one another in the fight against the biggest menace in the world today, imperialism. And in this particular zone, imperialism and Zionism. And the military post that US put there in that zone, it is not going to give it up. It will be used for continuing attack on the working class. That's why in the beginning I said it is not just a clash of religions, a clash of communities. It's a war of released by the imperialists and the entire humanity. So we should stand by the struggling people. It is a real crisis period, comrades. Crisis for the rulers, crisis for imperialists. Netanyahu may not continue as a prime minister. Already signals are coming that Natalie Bennett, who has got 7 seats from Yemeni party in the last elections, March 20, Two of them. Recently the election, that is the fourth election since 2 years. Because Netanyahu is not able to mobilize in their 120 parliament, 120 seated parliament, half 61 seats he has to get. He could not get. There are many parties. Netanyahu belongs to the Likud party. Then that is very ultra nationalist, Zionist fanatic. But there are many Zionist parties. So another man, Natalie Bennett, who is saying that I will become prime minister, I will gather the support of others. Another party led by Lapid, it has got 17 seats. So he is getting the coalition. Tomorrow or day after it will be declared. He will have sharing of prime ministership with Lapid and this Bennett. It may happen, and the US government will back them. Maybe. Because a prime minister becomes so unpopular. As I told you, that we are not against the Jews, and the Jews are all also not that all are warmongering. Many Jews protested. Many rabbi that religious leaders of Jews who come with a long hat and beard, they protested against this bombardment of Gaza. So things are not all right for the rurals. Nowhere, even in India. So this is a crisis for the ruling class. Here, before ending, I want to read what Lenin, the great leader of the proletariat, has said about a revolutionary crisis. He says, it is impossible for the ruling classes to maintain their rule without any change. When there is a crisis in one form or another among these upper classes, a crisis in the policy of the ruling class, leading to a fissure through which the discontent and indignation of the oppressed classes burst forth. That is a crisis. But he is continuing. For a revolution to take place, it is insufficient for the lower classes not to want to live in the old way. Meaning, it is not just enough if we are discontented, the exploited people. So, along with that, the ruling class also should be in crisis. So, Lenin is saying the upper classes should be unable to live in the old way. Next, when the suffering and want of the oppressed classes have grown more acute than usual, that is also crisis. Crisis means it's condition favorable for revolution. Number 3, when as a consequence of the above 3 causes, there is a considerable increase in the activity of the masses. That is the final. The activity of the masses will determine the future. So, we will move in that direction as much as possible with ideological propaganda, organizational arrangements, and mobilizing the people's opinion, organizing the exploited people. This will sound a death knell to imperialism and capitalism. Imperialism and capitalism has not come to stay forever. It is going. For that, the genuine revolutionary party is required. An anti-imperialist movement with all the peace-loving forces, all anti-imperialist forces, whatever may be the hue, their color, their slogan, those who oppose imperialism, with all of them, with the communist at the core, is the call of our anti-imperialist forum, our party. So, comrades, we stand by the Palestinian people. We demand a fully fledged, sovereign, national state for the fighting, death-defying battles they're doing, Palestinians. So we stand by them. That means we stand by peace and we stand by all the exploited people of the world. With these words, I conclude, thanking the organizers for giving me this opportunity to place my views. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. I thank Comrade Sridhar for his elaborate exposition of Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Here, actually, just to put things in perspective, I want to just make a comparison between the attack by two parties in Israeli-Palestinian conflict and the consequent casualty levels and destruction. Just to put things in perspective, during the last 11 days between May 10th and May 21st, in this period, when the conflict escalated between these two countries, Israel and Palestine, Palestine, which doesn't have a complete state by itself, it is not a sovereign state, it even doesn't have a security force of its own to protect itself. In that situation, when the movement was intense in West Bank region, particularly around Jerusalem, a place where three religions unite. These synagogues are there, churches are there, and mosques are there, and all the three religions, these Abrahamic religions, have this special place in their heart for this place called Jerusalem. The Jews think that their religion was born there. The Christians think that Jesus Christ, who was born in Bethlehem, is near there, and Al-Aqsa is there, Muslims believe. So it is a holy place for all the three. When the movement escalated there, but rockets flew from Gaza, in this situation, Hamas fired rockets supplied by US, as Comrade Sridhar was explaining, via Egypt, where these rockets were, they did not manufacture these rockets in their place. And these rockets were used to fire on Israel. See the kind of casualties. There were 256 on Palestinian sides, on 13 officially on the Israeli side. Okay, and 66 children were killed in Palestine side, and on Israel, 2 children killed. I don't say they should be equal, but see the kind of disproportionate use of force and destruction. In this, more than 72,000 Palestinians have been displaced, whereas 90% of the rockets fired by Hamas, that's what the reports from independent agencies say, 90% of the rockets fired from Hamas were intercepted by Iron Dome protected. So given the situation, almost this Israel is behaving like a Gunda force in that region to control all the Arab countries, and United States of America is playing from behind. Okay, it is pinching the child from behind, as well as it is singing lullaby to keep it calm, but it is playing both, and it is doing business. And this role of US imperialism is vividly explained by Comrade Sridhar. So we thank Comrade Sridhar from All India Committee of AIDYO. And presently, just to share with you a fact of Israeli-Palestine conflict, hundreds of resolutions have been passed in United States, United Nations, but all have gone to dustbin without doing an iota of impact on Israel, because in many, only 3 countries supported those resolutions, whereas hundreds of them, amongst the 193 members, have opposed Israeli role. Its settlements also have been opposed, its expansionist strategy is opposed, and its violence is also opposed. And in fact, 52 times, as a statistics go, 52 times UN security resolutions have been vetoed by United States against Israel. Whatever resolutions passed against Israel were vetoed by US. This is how US protects Israel. Earlier, it was supported by UK, now US. So let us quickly, we have very little time, dear comrades and friends. We have a few questions also for the speakers. So I request Comrade Satyavan to take the first question. Comrade, the question that has come is, India has a anti-imperialist strategy. Indian people, India has anti-imperialist heritage in it. And what is the role of India? India is so-called neutral. It played in this conflict period. But what is actually its stand, its role? Is it same? It is changing, or what, comrade? That is a question that has come. And we have few more questions. We shall continue. Very little time we have. Yes, comrade, please go on. You have to unmute your mic, comrade. Please unmute yourself. Yes, yes, yes. No, no. Yes. You speak, comrade.
यस कॉमेड। भारत देश ने आजादी ब्रिटिश साम्राज्यवाद से 200-250 साल लड़ के ली, और इस संघर्ष में हमने बहुत सारी कुर्बानियां दी और बहुत सारे अत्याचार भुगते। हम अपने अनुभव से, अपने संघर्षों से, जो साम्राज्यवाद के खिलाफ भारत की जनता ने लड़े, उनसे जानते हैं कि आज फिलिस्तीन जिस तरह से इजराइल और अमेरिका गठबंधन, ये जो शैतानों का गठबंधन है, एक तरह से अमेरिका एक फासिस्ट इंपीरियलिस्ट कंट्री के रूप में इजराइल को प्रोटेक्शन दे रहा है, और इजराइल आधुनिक एक सेना से लैस होकर कर रहा है। तो भारत को चाहिए था कि वो फिलिस्तीन की जनता की मुक्ति, आजादी के साथ अपना सुर मिलाता। लेकिन आप जानते हैं, जानने की जरूरत है कि आजादी के बाद से ही भारत सरकार पूंजीपतियों की सेवा में रही है, और जैसे जैसे हिंदुस्तान का पूंजीपति बड़ा होता गया है, मोनोपोली से पार होकर साम्राज्यवादी चरित्र, साम्राज्यवादी रुझान लेता गया है, उतना ही दूर तक वो अपनी होम पॉलिसी में और विदेश पॉलिसी में विश्व पटल पर वो साम्राज्यवाद विरोधी जो चेहरा है, साम्राज्यवाद विरोधी जो भूमिका है, उसमें अपने रुख को पलटता गया है। आप जानते हैं, यासर अराफात जब थे तो भारत ने उन्हें मान्यता दी थी। भारत पहली स्टेट था, दुनिया में पहला देश था जिसने यासर अराफात को वो मान्यता दी थी। लेकिन जैसे जैसे भारतीय पूंजीवाद एक क्षेत्रीय महाशक्ति के रूप में साम्राज्यवाद के साथ, तो ये दुनिया की साम्राज्यवादी ताकतों के साथ हाथ मिलाता जा रहा है। और 1991 के बाद ग्लोबलाइजेशन की जिन नीतियों को धारण किया, तो भारत सरकार जो पूंजीपतियों की मोनोपोली की सेवक है, इसने विश्व राजनीति के पटल पर अपनी विदेश नीति के अंदर भी बदलाव लिया। और 92 के बाद से खासतौर पर जो फिलिस्तीन की जनता के साथ जो सपोर्ट था, थोड़ा बहुत भी उसको उसमें बदलाव किया, और सने सने करके आज वो इजराइल के पक्ष में अमेरिका के साथ खड़ा है। हम इसकी निंदा करते हैं। हालांकि भारत सरकार कहती है कि हमारा जो रुख है वो मिला जुला है, हमारा रुख है वो इंडिपेंडेंट एंड कंसिस्टेंट है, यानी हमारा स्वतंत्र मत है और हमारा सुसंगत मत है। क्या हम इसको सुसंगत कहेंगे? इतना भयंकर अत्याचार हो रहा है पूरा फिलिस्तीन को, सिर्फ गाजा पट्टी को नहीं, मैंने कहा गाजा पट्टी को कत्लगा, पूरा फिलिस्तीन को कत्लगा। इल्जाम लगाया जाता है कि वो रॉकेट फेंकते हैं। अगर ये रॉकेट फेंकना कुछ नहीं है, ये ऐसा ही है, आप किसी छोटे बच्चे को पीटोगे वो रोएगा। फिलिस्तीन रो रहा है, फिलिस्तीन करा रहा है, लेकिन आधुनिक सेना, साम्राज्यवाद की अमेरिका जिसके पीठ पर हो, तो इसके खिलाफ, क्योंकि हम आजादी से, हमारी आजादी हमने खुद लड़के ली है, हमारे देश की परंपरा है, नेताजी सुभाष, भगत सिंह, हमारे देश की तमाम जनता, एक लंबे साम्राज्यवाद विरोधी परंपरा, हम हर जगह मुक्ति के पक्ष में हैं। और आज आज मानव जाति के ऊपर जो पूंजीवाद, साम्राज्यवाद, जो फासिस्ट जुल्म कर रहा है, उसके खिलाफ चाहिए था भारत सरकार को कि वो फिलिस्तीन की जनता के साथ अपने सुर मिलाती, लेकिन वो नहीं कर रही। तो हमें, हम भारतीय जनता का, हमारा दायित्व है कि हम साम्राज्यवाद विरोधी आंदोलन को तीव्र करें। 1992 में हमने साम्राज्यवाद विरोधी सम्मेलन देश में बुलाया था और दुनिया भर में आवाज उठाई थी, और ऐसी आवाज फिर दोबारा अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सम्मेलन बुला करती थी। तो हर देश में जो साम्राज्यवाद विरोधी भावना के लोग हैं, वो जोरदार जनमत तैयार करें। लेकिन एक बात याद रखनी होगी, समझनी होगी कि विश्व जनमत, अनेक ऐसे मामले हैं जब ट्रंप ने तेल अवीव से यरूशलेम जब राजदूतालय ले गया, एम्बेसी ले गया, तब दुनिया नहीं, ब्रिटेन, फ्रांस, यूरोप के बहुत सारे देश खुद अमेरिका के खिलाफ खड़े हो गए। वो मजबूर हो गए थे, वहां की जो जनता है वो जो फिलिस्तीन के साथ खड़ी हुई थी, शायद दिखाने के लिए हो, लेकिन जिस तरह से नियत्था है फिलिस्तीन, नियत्था के ऊपर जो पूरा देश की जनता को तबाह किया जा रहा है, तो उसमें ये आंदोलन मिलिटेंट आंदोलन होने चाहिए। और जो दुनिया में जेनेवा कन्वेंशन के तहत जो जिसको अपराध कहा गया है, आप पूरा गांव को, पूरा देश को आप कलेक्टिव पनिशमेंट जिसको कहते हैं, आप फिलिस्तीन पर अत्याचार कर रहे हैं। अगर उनके बच्चे ने एक पत्थर भी फेंक दिया तो आप पूरी फिलिस्तीन की जनता को दंडित करने का एक पॉलिसी लेकर जो इजराइल और अमेरिका जिस तरह से करता है, ये जेनेवा कन्वेंशन का उल्लंघन है। ये स्वाभाविक प्राकृतिक न्याय का उल्लंघन है। आप उत्पीड़ित को और आक्रमणकारी को एक नहीं ले सकते। ये कॉमन साधारण लोगों में भी समझ है, वो भी हिचकते हैं। कॉमरेड सिद्धार्थ घोष ने, हमारे प्रिय नेता ने जो कहा था कि आज पूंजीवाद के पास देने के लिए कुछ नहीं है, उसने जो दुनिया में जो सभ्यता अब तक जो जहां आई है, मानवीय मूल्यबोध जहां आए हैं, जनतांत्रिक जो मूल्यबोध जहां आए हैं, उन सबको नष्ट भ्रष्ट करने की करके ही ये अपना मुनाफा का शासन, अपने दबदबे का शासन चला सकता है। तो अमेरिकन साम्राज्यवाद के खिलाफ और इजराइल के खिलाफ एक जोरदार जबरदस्त जनमत तैयार किया जाना चाहिए विश्व में, और एक मिलिटेंट साम्राज्यवाद विरोधी आंदोलन, जो आंदोलन के भीतर से एक ऐसी शक्ति पनपे कि फिलिस्तीन लोग अपनी आजादी को हासिल कर लें, अपना जो संप्रभु राष्ट्र, एक सोवरेन स्टेट के रूप में एक आजादी मुकम्मल खुद मुख्तियार, जो अपने भूभाग पर जो घर से बेघर किए हुए हैं उसके ऊपर वो खुद अपना शासन चलाएं, और उनकी तरफ कोई उंगली उठाकर देख नहीं सके। अगर कोई उंगली करे, उनकी तरफ आंख उठाकर देखे तो जवाब दे सके, उनका अपना सेना हो, उनका अपना सब कुछ अधिकार हो। ये एक दिन आए, इसके लिए जनमत तैयार करना होगा। ये हम लोग करें। जी
comrade, yes. Comrade, there is one question that I would like to pose to Comrade Sridhar. Comrade, you have discussed elaborately on the role of US, which from behind and tacitly and many times openly has supported, and in UN also it has protected the Israelis' role in Palestine. In fact, the movement in Palestine, which largely is peaceful, occasionally it has become militant too. Like during the first Intifada in 1987 to 1993 or so, and during second Intifada in 2000, it took a militant turn, and there were many suicide attacks and many such things also happened. What has been, since we are seeing from 1990s onwards, when there is absence of Soviet Union, what was the role? Was there any role of Soviet Union? Can you briefly and quickly, I don't know whether I am putting this question, which is little requires elaborate explanation. But can you explain what has been the role of Soviet Union and why this issue lingered on for this long?
Role of Soviet Union, if you have to understand, the Soviet Union pre-revisionist period and the after revisionist period. This is different. Actually, as I was telling in my previous address, that the Jews went up to Russian Empire, to the Ukraine and Armenia. Many millions were there. There during before Russian Revolution, because of this call of Zionism, a Jewish organization by name Bund, B-U-N-D, Bundish they call. This is a political organization of the Jews for the nationhood. But Leninism is based on internationalism. So, and another thing, for a nation, there is a definition of a nation because Stalin was the authority. The nation, it should be a stable community having one geographical boundary. They should stay there, and also one language, and then one political system and culture. All these, and out of that, they should be in one area and one language. So, from that angle, forming Israel, Lenin opposed it. Is Zionism is not correct. At the same time, he has opposed the anti-Semitism also that is going on even before the Holocaust of the Second World War. That anti-Semitism. So, what he proposed is we have to assimilate the Jews in the Republic and give all facilities for them. That's why they are quite happy there. There was no problem. And after this revisionism came, 1956, after the 20th Congress of CPSU, then some appeasement started to these forces which are assimilated. And some Jews started feeling like going back to that Israel, the land promised by God is given, and USA and Israel governments are giving all facilities for the settlers. Then who would not like to go there, to go and settle there? It's a nice place. So many started to go. Then there was an organization also. I think that organization called Refunking group. In 1970s they started, and even one group wanted to hijack and go to Israel from USA. I mean USSR. By that time it is already revisionism. So they started telling, first they tried to suppress and stop, and then again they decided, okay, we'll let them go. And that is the time many started going away. And I think in 1970s itself, that is called Aliyah, 1970 Aliyah movement. In the Aliyah movement, the Jews went there. And Gorbachev, when he came finally in 1985 with the formula of Perestroika, Glasnost, to open up the boundaries, leave them. Then from that time they started going, and after 15 years of this policy, you see, I think in Israel you will find the figure is around 1.2 million Jews of Russian from Russia are settled there. Of all the foreign Jews who came from other countries, maximum is from Russia. So this way it came, and about the mm, political relations, Russia also loves today Putin, Israel. It's a good relation. Putin loves, and the US president loves Israel. Our Modi also loves Israel. Indian government is long, even during the Congress regime, maintain good relation. So the socialist camp, if it remained, then the arrogance what Israel and US is exhibiting now, they would not have been able to exhibit that arrogance. That arrogance started increasing after revisionism, and more Jews gathering there and being given all facilities and more atrocities there. More the number of Jews go there and settle with the blessings and the backing and encouragement of the US and Israeli forces. They become settlers, and more they come, more will be the oppression and displacement, deportation of the Palestinians. They are running away from there. In the bordering countries like Jordan to Egypt to Lebanon, they have no place. Who stayed continuously in the geographic locality. They constitute nation actually. That's why Israel is an artificially created nation. But due to some historical conditions, the world supported it that time. But whereas Palestinian, UN resolution should have been in 1948 clear about the Palestinian state and Israel state. That did not happen. They just first created Israel. Then Israel declared independence. Then immediately Arabs invaded. Then the whole and the Pentagon entered. Then the whole process took a wrong process. The twisted turns and that and in that by that process, per time Stalin died. And revisionism came in Soviet Union. So they could not steer it in the right direction. Rather, they almost you can say cooperated with the plans of Israel. Though there is contradiction between USA and USSR, but here they did not play any proactive role in ensuring the establishment of Palestinian national state. That is the role of Soviet Union. So naturally, as the problem is not getting settled, the militant groups in Palestine are becoming restless, and that I already explained. That is why the militancy is gaining ground there. Okay, I think I have answered.
It quite satisfactorily answers my question. Comrade, one point that I would like to put across to Comrade Satyavan. Comrade, India, in its struggle, as Comrade Sridhar was narrating the nation definition of nation, in fact explained by Stalin, the national mental makeup was formed in India when there was a national movement that was built up, and there was a sense of that nationhood in the minds of the people that got formed. But where Pakistan, when it was was brought in by the in a strained situation in India, and there was a partition, British played this policy of their divide and rule here too before they left. Can we draw any similarity between or any distinctions between what is happening in Palestine, Israel, and what happened with Indian Peninsula? In Pakistan also, when they formed East Pakistan and West Pakistan. There were strange things that this British imperialists did. So, can we draw any kind of similarities or distinctions? That's my point to you, Comrade Satyavan. Comrade, please unmute yourself and speak, Comrade. Yes, please go on, Comrade.
पहला मेरा जवाब है चीन और भारत और पाकिस्तान में कोई मेल नहीं है। मैं क्यों कह रहा हूं? ये एक बात मेल है क्या कि जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है आज भारत में भी एक विशाल देश को धर्म के आधार पर बंटवारे में जो उलझाया गया, बांट दिया गया, और आज इजराइल और फिलिस्तीन के लोगों को आपस में जो लड़ाया जा रहा है, ये मेल है। लोगों को लोगों के खिलाफ लड़ाया जा रहा है एक साजिश के तहत, एक बहुत बड़ी साजिश के तहत। ये एक मेल है। लेकिन जो मेल नहीं है वो ये है, भारत एक सॉवरेन स्टेट है। भारत एक संप्रभुता प्राप्त खुद मुख्तियार एक देश है, जो खुद अपने देश के बारे में निर्णय करता है, और उसका अपना प्रशासन है, अपनी न्यायपालिका है, अपना सेना है। वो अपने बॉर्डर्स को और अपने देश की जनता को डिफेंड कर सकता है। पाकिस्तान के पास भी सॉवरेनिटी है, पाकिस्तान के पास भी, लेकिन इजराइल के पास तो स्टेटहुड है, सॉवरेनिटी भी है, लेकिन फिलिस्तीन के पास कुछ नहीं है। तब भला फिलिस्तीन को किससे तुलना करेंगे? इंडिया से, पाकिस्तान से? भिन्न है। तो ये जो भिन्नता है, हर धरती और हर देश के लोगों के इतिहास में भिन्नता है, लेकिन एक साम्यता है। आज विश्व पैमाने पर साम्यता है कि साम्राज्यवाद में लोगों को लोगों के खिलाफ, पीपल अगेंस्ट पीपल, जो लड़ाया जा रहा है, ये एक साम्यता है। और जिस तरह से भारत ने अंग्रेजों के खिलाफ, विदेशी के खिलाफ लड़के ली थी आजादी, लेकिन उसमें और फिलिस्तीन की मुक्ति में भी अंतर है। वो जिस तरह से घिरा हुआ है, जिस तरह से घिरा हुआ है, आप गाजा पट्टी को देखिए, गाजा पट्टी को देखिए, तो ये वेस्ट बैंक जाने के लिए क्या रास्ता है? एक बिल्कुल एक कंसंट्रेशन कैंप की तरह ये है। तो इसमें भारत की आजादी के लिए भी विश्व जनमत था, पक्ष में भी था। विभिन्न देशों में गदर पार्टी का आंदोलन दुनिया के मुल्कों में जाके आजादी के लिए पक्ष में आवाज उठाई थी। मदन लाल धिंगरा ब्रिटेन में खुद जाकर, उधम सिंह, ये उठाई थी। लेकिन आज फिलिस्तीन को अंदर से वो जो मुक्ति की जो लड़ाई लड़ रहा है, लेकिन विश्व पैमाने पर बहुत बड़े आंदोलन की, साम्राज्यवाद विरोधी आंदोलन की जरूरत है। तो यहां ये भिन्नता है। तो दिस इज
We could we could note the points that you made. Thank you, comrade. What actually this is to comrade K. Sridhar. Comrade, what do you think is the way to permanent solution for this region, and what would actually help resolve the situation and how it can be brought about? And we have overshot our time and just we'll have to wind up. So please tell what is this way to permanent solution?
Now, first the demand has to be understood. Demand, Comrade Satyavanda has already explained. I am reiterating that Palestinians should get their status as Palestinian civilians or citizens, not as a second-rated citizen in a land controlled by Israel, nor as the Arab Israelis. Arab Israelis is the name Israel wants to give to Palestinians. Now, Palestinians should get their own state, a fully fledged national state, so that they can live with dignity and decency, having all the rights of sovereignty. This is very important. It is sovereign national state. Underline the word sovereign. That is our first demand. Second is the Jews are encouraged by the Israeli army, backed up by the US imperialists. Whatever they have occupied, all should be given back to the Palestinians. These are the demands. Once you understand the demand, how to achieve, it depends on many conditions. From people like us, we raise the demand and we do movements and we'll apply pressure on the Indian government also. So also everywhere there will be pressure. And UN is passing resolution of resolution. International tribunal is also condemning, but they are not caring because there is some weakness even in the Arab countries. That is also a point. So all Arab countries, not for an opportunistic gain to support uh, liberation of Palestine or Palestinian statehood, but with a broad outlook, with the view of internationalism, true internationalism. If they support, then they would not try to fish in the troubled water, either Syria or Egypt or Saudi or Iran. So for that, a lot of interaction with these progressive forces in all these countries that is required to bring one understanding on how to achieve it. Only through UNO, I don't think it will be possible. So unless the pressure is applied on every government, see, US and Israel are not alone like a big Bundas ruling the or controlling whole world. In every country, the imperialist capitalists are ruling. And today, fascism has become the way, fascistic autocracy that has come to save the ruling classes from the wrath of the people. So, unless the pressure is applied on those countries not to support, for example, during the war on Iraq or war on Afghanistan, India allowed refueling for American planes, or war on Kuwait especially, war on Iraq to liberate Kuwait. That time refueling was allowed in India. So these type of things will not help. And once, exactly here I do not know, in one Arab country, they did not permit loading of arms which will be used against Iraq or Afghanistan. That way, if the solidarity is achieved, that the working classes of every country not only develop a movement to pressurize their local national governments, but not cooperate. Don't load. If anything is going for war against an unjust war against fighting people, then arms should not be supplied. Then they should not load into the ship. It is not that just from far away place they can come and throw bombs. In between, or their jet planes can come and throw bombs. They need support in between. So there, the supply chain has to be broken. They are now trying for radars. That is why an experiment they did with radars in this Gaza bombardment. I mean, not radar. Sorry, what is that? Drone. How to use drone technology to target the bombs. They tried to target a cyclist in motion to check the efficacy of that drone technology. That they could not achieve. But before they could go and fine tune all these arms which they can throw directly on the other countries without the help of other supporting countries chain around the land. Before they achieve that, they have not yet achieved. So the people who are for peace and progress should develop movements such a way in militant peace movement where they apply pressure on their governments and they cut that supply chain. This will help.
Comrade.
That much I have to
Thank you.
say.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Friends, whoever is viewing this program, we have to end this program. Already we have overshot the time announced. We have had a wonderful discussion and an exposition of the complex nature of the conflict from two leaders of SUCI Communist. I wholeheartedly thank Comrade Satyavan, the Politburo member of the Central Committee of SUCI, and Comrade Sridhar, the Central Committee member of SUCI, for having participated in this webinar. Very thank you very much, both of you, comrades. And friends, in fact, from the discussion that you have heard, probably it is very much clear that in the world there is no such power, existing power, which is truly pro people, because we are seeing all majorly rightist forces coming to, extreme rightist forces coming to power all over the globe, a kind of reaction. So progressive forces are on the sidelines. Maybe they have to gather strength, and there is a requirement for a militant peace movement, global militant peace movement involving all the countries, the progressive forces, left forces, democratic forces. They should come together to face this fascist autocracy that is coming up in different countries, and that is the only way in which even this movement can help and support Palestinian cause. So with this, I wholeheartedly thank all of you for having participated in this deliberation. And with this, we conclude with a sense in our mind to express solidarity with the Palestinian cause and freedom for the fighting Palestinian people. So we end this program here. Thank you all.